Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. The year of fire has been fully upon us for quite some time, but even with that, we're still getting more fire cards. With the new Salamangreat support, this is another fire deck to look out for. So let's quickly go over the support and the new cards and how they work. So real quick, starting off with Salamangreat of Fire, which is the new normal summon for the deck. We used to play Flame Bufferlow, but this one is now even better. On normal or special, you can add a level 4 or lower Salamangreat monster from your deck to your hand, including Gazelle, which is great. However, you are locked into special summoning fire for the rest of the turn. So do keep that in mind. That is why the extra deck looks the way that it does, and looks very different from how it currently does. And then we also got Weasel, which is the new support, which we're going to quickly talk about as well, which if you have 2 or more Salamangreat monsters in your grave, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then, if a Ritual Fusion, Synchro, Exe, or Link monster is special summoned, a Salamangreat of those is special summoned to your field while this card is in your grave, you can target one other Salamangreat monster in your grave, place this card onto the bottom of the deck, and then special summon the other monster to the opponent's field, then draw a card. Okay, first of all, drawing a card is great, but putting a card onto the opponent's field is disruption, especially if it's a card that they're not going to use. So that's very nice. So yeah, pretty good effect, both of those effects, and that is basically it in terms of the new main deck support. We have one other card, which is Salamangreat Charge, which is fairly decent, which just gives you the ability to target 3 of your banished or in your grave fire monsters, shuffle them back into the deck, and then special summon one of the remaining ones. But for the rest of this turn, its effects are negated and it can't attack. Or if you control one of your a monster from the extra deck or a ritual monster that has different attack from its original attack, you could target a card in the field and destroy it. This secondary effect doesn't matter. I mean, it does, don't get me wrong, but it's not nearly as good as the shuffling back and special summoning a guy. This basically gives you additional extension. And this can also come up with the Raging Phoenix to be able to pop a card to potentially go for the OTK a little bit more efficiently. If you can get this into the grave and then add it to your hand through the Sunlight Wolf effect, there's that. But it's kind of, I don't want to say it's rare, but I think the first effect is a little bit better. As for the rest of the deck, it's pretty simple. And given the fact that Salamangreat of Fire kind of does the full combo by itself, and it does even more than in previously, we are now cutting down the amount of starters we basically need. So because of that, we can actually play more hand traps, at least, compared to previously. So we are playing the 3 Maxi, the 3 Veiler, the 3 Ash Blossom, as well as 3 Infip. That's a lot. That's 12 right there. We're also playing 2 Nib and 2 Triple Tack, which is also pretty nice. And then, of course, the 2 Called By and the 1 Crossout, and that is all of our non-engine. All the rest is... all the rest is engine, excuse me. We have the triple Salamangreat of Fire, the triple Gazelle, 2 Spinny, 1 Weasel. Yes, you only play the 1. You basically only want to special summon it off of something like the Mirage Salio, or search it off of Fire, or something like that. We're also playing 1 Jack Jaguar and 1 Foxy, because both of these can bring themselves back and potentially deal with problematic cards and stuff like that. Especially Foxy. Foxy is your out to Floodgates, which is pretty cool. You can out like Skill Drain and stuff. Right. If this card is in your grave and a face-up spell trap is on the field, discard a Salad, special summon it, then destroy a face-up spell trap. Pretty good. Yeah. Anyway, we also have the 2 Signet Mining, the 1 Sanctuary to search off of the Baylings. We have the 1 Will of Salamangreat, and then of course we have ourselves 1 Rage and 1 Roar. We'll get into why Rage is more important here in a second. As for the extra deck, it looks a little bit different, but we're still playing a Mirage Salio and a Baguska as our Xyz. We're playing 3 Baylings. We're playing 3 Sunlight Wolf. We're playing 1 Hita, 1 Promethean Princess, and then a few interesting additions. First of all, Proxy F Magician, as well as Violet Chimera. Violet Chimera is a fire fusion effect monster that we can utilize by fusion summoning with a Salamangreat and a Link monster in order to just attack for a lot of damage. That's basically it. And since we don't have access to access code nearly as easily now, we're going to play this instead to give us access to basically an OTK. Now granted, getting the OTK is not difficult thanks to Raging Phoenix, the new 3 of that we're also playing. which is, if this card is link summoned using itself as material, you can add a Salamangreat card from your deck to your hand. This is fantastic, just already, because it can grab Rage. Now, Rage says, target a Salamangreat link monster you control that was link summoned using a monster with the same name as material, and then destroy cards your opponent controls up to that monster's link rating, which is 4. Which is basically a board wipe. So that's pretty cool, and a non-target board wipe at that. Cool. So yeah, very, very fantastic effect, which is why Rage is so important now. However, it has a secondary effect, where if a face-up fire monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, while this card is in your grave, you can target one of those monsters, special summon it, and if you do, this card gains attack equal to that monster's attack. Which means, if your opponent were to, say, deal with one of your monsters, like the Raging Phoenix, you could then bring back another Raging Phoenix and make it even bigger. Or, if you pop your own monster with Promethean Princess, you can bring back a Raging Phoenix and OTK your opponent through well, not much, honestly, but you could basically wipe your opponent's field with it. Now, notably, this is how you get the OTK with, like, Snake Eyes, going through Zelantis and stuff like that. But Salamangreat is also fantastic for this deck, or this card is also fantastic, obviously, for Salamangreat, because of the fact that it searches, because of this effect. It's all great. So let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performed. Alright, so here we are going going second, and we have a fairly decent hand. My opponent just sets and passes, but I'm going to show you what we can do here with this Salamangreat of Fire. So we're going to go for the Salamangreat of Fire. We're going to grab ourselves a Gazelle. We're going to link it off into the Balinks. We're going to activate the Gazelle here. We're going to special summon and activate the effect of the Gazelle. We're going to dump Roar. We're then going to go for the Signet Mining. Here we grab Spinny and activate the Spinny effect, and we're going to pitch it to the graveyard. We're going to target our Gazelle. We're going to go for the Spinny here. And now we get to go for Mirage Stallion. Now, at this point, I must tell you, I'm pretty certain my opponent has Nibiru. It turned on summon number 5. I'm playing around Nibiru. I'm almost certain that my opponent has it. So I'm like, okay, I could potentially try to go for the OTK. I'm instead going to try and like hedge my bets, see if I can force out that Nibiru, and then potentially play through it and see what I can do. I have the charge in my hand. I'm feeling okay. So I give my opponent this, and I actually don't put it in the correct zone. I'm supposed to put it right here so that I can add back the Gazelle. I draw into the Gazelle, so it didn't matter, but there you go. I play a little incorrectly. Anyway, we go for the Promethean Princess effect. We're going to bring back this guy. Then we're going to link off into our Raging Phoenix. And instead of going for, like, the Raging Phoenix OTK or something along those lines, I instead just go to battle, I deal what damage I can, and then I link off again. And again, at this point, I'm like, okay, I'm still kind of wary of a, you know, Nibiru, so I'm still going to keep the charge in my hand, but we end up going for the Raging Phoenix, searching out Rage, and we get to set the Roar here, and it was Metaverse. Into Toon World! What? Playing against Toons! But I still wanted to show you this game in particular, just to kind of show you how some of the combos work. Anyway, they have a Harpy's Feathered SRI negate. They go for the Toon Table of Contents, and I'm like, sure. They're going to go for the Toon Bookmark here. Now, Toon Bookmark is annoying because it protects the Toon World, and Toon World can protect the other stuff, but it can also search Toon World, so I'm like, okay. I still have to go for the Rage here, because while, yes, Toon Bookmark can search the Toon World, or the Toon Kingdom, I still pop the Toon Kingdom here so that they are forced to search a second one, basically. So that's kind of the idea here. I pop both of their cards because they can. I could pop up to 4 if I wanted to, but alas. So, kind of tragic there. We still have access to the Promethean Princess, but Comic Hand. Fun. I now can't target this guy. I also can't target any of their other guys, so that's fun. Well, I'm still going to show you more or less what this deck can do, and I'm going to show you the OTK line with the, whatchamacallit, the Proxy F into Violet Chimera. So we're going to go for the Sunlight, or Salamangreat of Fire. We're going to grab that. We're going to search out the Weasel. Weasel is going to special summon itself because we have 2 Salamangreats in the grave. Then Weasel effect is going to activate after we link into the Sunlight Wolf. We're also going to activate the Gazelle. So Gazelle is going to special summon itself. Weasel is then going to special summon it to my opponent's side of the field, Fire, and we draw a card. The drawn card is actually pretty bad, but this allows us to trigger Promethean Princess in grave, as well as the Sunlight Wolf. I kind of do this in the wrong order. I probably should have gone for the Sunlight Wolf effect second, but it's not that big of a deal. Anyway, Gazelle triggers, we send the Jaguar, and now we get to go for the Raging Phoenix, and I'm going to put back, I'm going to gain the attack of the Salamangreat Gazelle. Now, I could have popped my Sunlight Wolf, but the additional attack really doesn't matter here. We special summon back the Jaguar because we can. And I target 2 Gazelles as well as one of the Sunlight Wolves. We're going to special summon that Gazelle. Now, realistically, what I should have done is special summoned the Spinny here and gone into the Mirage Stalio. And I just didn't because I'm a silly boy. To be fair, the Mirage Stalio wouldn't have done much, but we go for the Proxy F Magician into Violet Chimera. And Violet Chimera is boosted now up to a 50-50 attack point monster. So all of this put together is quite a lot of damage, but of course they can protect, so I don't have lethal. So there's that. You know. Anyway, I'm going to link off these 2 monsters into a second Sunlight Wolf, and then use the relink effect in order to go into the third Sunlight Wolf, and activate its effect to grab back the Rage, and now Rage has the ability to pop the Comic Hand, which is pretty nice there. So, yeah, if we didn't have the OTK there, we still can pop, like, 2 cards, non-target. We have the protection from the Raigeki. They go to the battle phase. I'm like, fantastic. We're going to target my Sunlight Wolf. We're going to try to pop 2. This at least gets the bookmark out of them, and we get back our Raging Phoenix. So, yeah, pretty good. I know, you know, it's against Toon, but hopefully this gives you an idea of what the deck more or less can do. So, there you go. Good game. Alright, here we are going first, and we drew a fairly good hand. 3 hand traps, 2 engine. It's pretty good, right? So we're going to start off here with the Jaguar. We're going to go into the Balinks here. We're going to activate the effect of the Balinks. We're going to activate the effect of the Gazelle. And we're going to special summon the Gazelle here. Yep. Also, my opponent chose for me to go first. So do keep that in mind as well. My opponent, I'm going to go for the Spinny. We're going to special summon it. We are going to then go into the Mirage Stalio, which then allows me to special summon out the Weasel. I go Salamangreat of Fire because that can grab the Weasel, and then I activate the Weasel. Sorry. Skipping a step. We're going to go for the Salamangreat Wolf here, or Sunlight Wolf. We're then going to link off here into the Balinks, and yeah, I kind of did this wrong, but it's fine. We're going to go for the Sunlight Wolf and the Weasel effects. Weasel is going to, Salamangreat, Sunlight Wolf is going to add back the Salamangreat of Fire, and then we're going to go for the Weasel effect to give them a Spinny. Here we go for the Promethean Princess. We also drew into a second nib, which is funny. We'll bring back the Jaguar and then link off those into a Raging Phoenix. And we haven't used the effect of our field spell, so we can utilize that effect in order to go into a second Raging Phoenix and grab ourselves a Roar. So that's pretty good. 3 hand traps, the Roar, I'm feeling pretty good. And again, my opponent chose for me to go first, so I'm kind of also playing around with that. I wanted to kind of do a less committal board. Of course, my opponent has the Harpy's Feather Duster. I'm not really too surprised, but there you go. They go for the Foxy here. They're going to reveal that they are also on Salamangreat, going second. Now, let's just not think about it. They go for the Jaguar here, special summon off of the Will, and then go for the Spinny effect. Out comes this guy. Now, I do have Nibiru, I have Effect Veiler, I have Ash Blossom. I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling all right. It's not that big of a deal. They're going to go for the Salamangreat Sanctuary here, and out that comes. They're going to then link off those 2 into Update Jammer, and here I see red. This is not exactly the correct play. I probably should just wait for the Access Code Talker, and then either, like, Nibiru it or something like that. But, alas, I see Update Jammer and I go, kill it! So I do that. I use the Promethean Princess here. This triggers the Raging Phoenix. Raging Phoenix is going to come back. And I actually put this in, like, the wrong zone. I should put it over here, and you'll see why in a second. But we have a big boy now. They're going to relink into using the Baylink. I don't know why they do this the way that they do. They're going to go for the Jaguar to bring back itself, and then link all 3 of those off into Transcode Talker. Yeah, this is where my mistake of the co-link becomes apparent, because now I can't target this. Had I been able to, I could have effect veilered it and prevented them from even getting to the update jammer, but alas, now here we are. Now, to be fair, if they have called by, none of this would have, like, whether I effect veiler the transcode or I effect veiler the access code, nothing changes. So they're going to go for the access code talker here. Not really that big of a deal. All of my guys are higher than its attack points, and I know what you're saying. Oh, but it becomes 53, and then you can't respond. You can turn your chain link on, and then you have a response window after the first effect, but before the second effect of the access code talker. There is a response window. You have the ability to respond. You chain, your negate. If they have called by, they have called by, and this play stops. Then if they attack into Promethean Princess, they don't have lethal, so they would have to do a whole bunch of shenanigans to potentially not get nibbed there, but I just nibbed them, and it's fine. Anyway, that didn't end up happening. They didn't have the called by, and we have well over lethal there. Good game. Alright, here we are going first this time, and I didn't activate the circle in the main phase, or in the draw phase. My bad. But my opponent negates fire. Well, not really anything I can do about that. So, this should be fine. It's not that big of a deal. We can just go into the Gazelle, go through that line, and, I mean, we still have full combo here, because we just hard drew the Gazelle, so it's fine. And, I mean, we have a called by. They don't have Maxi. We're feeling pretty good. We grab up the Sanctuary here. We're going to activate the effect of the Gazelle, and down comes the second and fifth. If this were, like, literally any other card, we would be A-okay. Ash Blossom, Effect Veiler, Nibiru even. If they had a Nibiru, we could at least do something, right? But yeah, this is kind of tragic. We just go for the Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf. We go for the relinking of it. Activate its effect in order to grab back the circle, and then just set 2 and pass and hope and pray. You know, that's kind of all that I can do. My opponent then reveals they're also on Salamangreat. So they normal summon the Weasel, they activate the effect of the Baylings, and I'm like, yep, of course you have the Gazelle. Why would they not? I mean, yeah, we both saw it. Our hands are literally like the exact same, by the way. And you will see in a second. They go for the Gazelle, I go for the negate. You know, they had 2 negates. They had 2 targeted negates. I have 2 targeted negates. They had Gazelle and a Salamangreat. I have a Gazelle and a Salamangreat. They actually had an extra Salamangreat that I did not have, instead I had the called by. So there's that. They go for the Spinny here. I actually called by here. There's no real reason to call by at that specific time, but it was more so to get rid of the Spinny. Now, if they have a called by, had they not used it there, that would have been silly. But I do have the second effect negation for the Hita. Had I not had that, Salamangreat of Fire off of Hita just, like, cooks me. But alas, I did, so cool. Good game. Wild. Alright. Here I am going first. This one, I'm just going to preface this by my opponent disconnects at the end of my combo, and I don't actually even finish it. But I do want to show you, ultimately, what I can basically accomplish with this deck. So we're going to start off here, cross out the Ash on our circle. Sure. Again, I don't activate it in the draw phase. I'm not really playing around Droll here. Very, very few people are playing Droll right now. Anyway, we go for the Salamangreat of Fire. We grab up the Gazelle. We then link off into the Baylinks here. We can grab the, or we can activate the effect, chain link to the Gazelle. Gazelle effect sends Spinny. Spinny effect, special summon itself. Activate, or go into the Mirage Stalio effect into our Weasel. And then we can activate the Sanctuary. Here we can go for Sunlight Wolf. I keep messing up the zones here with the Weasel effect here, but we're going to special summon the Fire to my opponent's field, and should have put it 1 over, but it's not that big of a deal. Anyway, we special summon the Spinny. I don't actually activate the effect of the Sunlight Wolf. Now we go for the Sunlight Wolf here, and I'm going to activate the Signet Mining to grab up a second Salamangreat of Fire, just as recursion, and then grab back the charge that we pitched. And now I'm going to link off into the Baylinks to add back the Spinny, I believe, as well. because I didn't have the Gazelle since I didn't detach it here. So a little bit of a mistake, but it's not gonna matter, as I mentioned. We go for the Promethean Princess. Promethean Princess, bring back a guy, then link all of those off for the Raging Phoenix. And now, this may seem a little weird, but I can still activate the charge, and while I didn't get the second effect of the Raging Phoenix because I didn't relink it, that's okay, because we can target our own Promethean Princess, and I'm going to shuffle back the Ash, I'm going to shuffle back the Sunlight Wolf, and bring back the Promethean Princess. Now use the Promethean and the Raging Phoenix to go into a second Raging Phoenix, and we still have Gazelle on field for an additional pop. We can get the search there for the Rage, we have the Called By, we have the Insane follow-up. I'm feeling pretty good. We have Promethean Engrave. There you go. That's kind of what the combo can also look like. Alright, we're back with the deck, and honestly, this deck is pretty fun. First of all, it's Cyberse, but cool. Notably, the addition of fire makes the deck even more consistent than it already was. It's not like it wasn't already consistent. But now you add on top of, like, actually being able to see a Salamangreat monster pretty consistently, and, like, being able to see Gazelle as well. It's just nice. It's more of, like, a quality of life thing rather than anything too noteworthy. Like, the deck basically saw the same stuff anyway. However, it does lock you into fires, which kind of changes the way that you play the game. But Raging Phoenix is such an incredible boss monster for this archetype. Being able to search out something like Rage, which is just a board wipe. You can even search out Roar if you feel like it, if you're more worried about, like, a one big blowout card, which is really, really nice. You also have the ability to set up the graveyard more efficiently, so, like, your Promethean Princess actually triggers even more and ends up, like, making your board even more difficult to deal with and stuff like that. And it just makes, like, Promethean Princess even better. Now, to be fair, being able to play a whole bunch of hand traps is nice right now because of, like, Snake Eyes and stuff like that. But for the most part, this deck does have an issue of bricking. It's a minor issue, but it does have it, right? Because you're just playing so many hand traps, there are times where you're just not going to see a play starter, and then you can just kind of die off of that, right? Or if you do see a play starter, you end up getting it interrupted or something along those lines, right? So there's that. You still top deck pretty well, though. And for the most part, it's still a decent game, you know? It's still decent to play, but the end board isn't all that insane, right? Like, if they have, like, an MST, they could just snipe your Rage, and you can't really do anything. You kind of have to hope on your hand traps doing enough, or stuff like that. So there are still definitely weaknesses, you know, Max C, Nibiru is still a big weakness, like, genuinely. You could just Nibiru at the end of this combo, and then it just kind of dies, and there's not really much. But now it has even more ways to OTK without Access Code Talker. You can lock yourself into fires, which is pretty nice, due to Salamangreat of Fire, and still be able to OTK. And all in all, I think the new support is nice. It doesn't really change too much overall for the archetype, but it does make it more fun, at the very least. So there's that. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, likes very much so appreciated. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.